stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call that I'm going to remember to say today.
President DiMedeiros.
Here.
Vice President Burke.
Present.
Councilor Perry. Councilor Edwards.
Here.
Councilor Edwards V. Councilor Janik.
Present.
Councilor Milburn.
So we
Councilors.
just about have a quorum, which is,
Perry, Edwards V. Milburn are absent.
all right, so you all have this budget. It's not labeled 5.5. We didn't do it, but you have that.
You got the updated one here. Yeah.
Okay, and that's, please look at that to make sure we've updated all of it. I think we got it all, but we have, like, over the weekend to Monday. I think it's all there. We're going to review every department anyway, again. Chris will be back Tuesday, so Thursday's meeting is really important because he's going to look over what we did, and I have been in contact with him in Hawaii, so. And then this is the Budget Committee's recommendation. Then you have the letter from the school department with somewhat corrected numbers since we've met on Saturday, last Saturday, 2 weeks ago. You have Denise's analysis, our treasurer, that looked at our new numbers from the financial director. They're pretty close. There's 1 year that's a little off.
For the schools.
Yeah, for the schools. We asked at the last meeting, because we discussed the pay-as-you-throw and decreasing our trash number. We have those numbers. There was a question about electricity and what's in that account. We have those numbers. I have the new updated budget, the new updated treasurer's numbers on what's left in accounts, so we can look at that when we need to. And I think that's it. So the first thing I want to do is welcome the Budget Committee. I'm surprised Mr. Perry's not here. He's been here every time.
I expected him.
All right. Still early, so the chairman is here, Mike Janik, and if you want to review some of this with us.
Sure.
Thank you. There was some resolutions I had questions about, but we'll continue.
Okay. We actually, you made our job kind of easy when you met and made some reductions of your own that you returned to us. And we made some other adjustments as well. We added a couple of resolutions, as you've no doubt seen. The other resolutions that we move forward were just the recurring items that come along every year. And barring any discussion otherwise, we just moved them along, changing the dates.
At our Monday meeting, we're going to try to make these ordinances, so we don't have to worry every year to make the resolutions. So it'll be all the restricted accounts, and we've added a couple of other restricted accounts. And I don't know if you've heard our discussion about snow removal, but this year we have a huge amount left in there. So we're going to try to make that a restricted account also.
Salt, sand, and gravel. huh?
Salt, sand, and gravel. Although there is a recommendation from the DPW director to put snow removal in there also, but that'll be discussed on Monday. But that's not in the ordinances right now. All right, go ahead, Mike, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, Denise. So do you want to do the resolutions first and work our way through?
Yeah,
the changes in the
all
budget?
right.
The first one was the appropriation levies being moved forward, and I changed the language to reflect the unified budget ordinance. And hopefully that, if it's, when the attorney, Mike, reviews it, it makes sense to him and is appropriate legally.
He's already looked at it, he thought that was a good idea.
Okay, good. And the second one, the capital accounts restricted for their intended purpose, just another carryover. And third is the revaluation account, restricted account, another carryover. Fourth concerns the elections account and restricted elections account, and that is, again, another carryover. Item 5 is the paving, drainage, curbing, and sidewalks. And every time, just an editorial note, every time I drive down Highland Road, I wonder what happened. But I know that's a state road.
That's
so
a
it's not-
state, I know.
Yeah.
There's other roads like that, too.
But that is a carryover as well. 6 was based on, I think, what you're planning to do on the ordinance, and I don't know how this accurately reflects what you intended, but it was the pay-as-you-throw for monitoring the closed landfill. I think there's been some discussion as well about maybe using that for the transfer station. Now, then discussion about using it to reduce the amount of the
Trash pickup.
trash pickup. So I understand if you're going to make some adjustments to that, where you're coming from and what the intent is, so.
This is in the new ordinance also. No.
I think we.
I think we already did
It
this.
used to say it would be used for.
Right, but the ordinance now states closure,
It's changed.
closure of the landfill, maintenance of the recycle center, and remaining will go for any offset we can manage for the trash pickup.
And I think that's a good change that takes better advantage of that money, those monies.
All right.
The last was, at one of our meetings, Town Administrator Carter was there, and Chris made this suggestion to us, and we thought it had value, but this was to take the third-party billing and take some amount from it. We put in 50% to be used for equipment and apparatus maintenance. The discussion also was held that could we use that for equipment acquisition, which doesn't reflect in here. So we fully expect that there'll be some modification to this if you decide to carry this forward, even as something that you want to do. And discussion has also, been held concerning the other departments that would be saying, hey, what about us?
Yep.
But they're not a revenue generator in a lot of cases. Some are and could make that argument, but it was at Chris's request and with his guidance that we generated this. So if you keep, discard, modify, we understand. It was just to get the discussion brought forward and have this put in front of you.
I personally think 50% is a little too high.
Me too.
I know where you're going with this. This has been discussed for years now. And you're right. The problem is other departments who pick up revenue are going to say, why can't we have some of that restriction on our accounts?
If Stu's watching, he's probably on his way down.
Yeah, Stu's probably in his car right now.
Is this live? I thought we were on.
No, we're alive.
I figured I'd be able to get away without it.
Well, I had a talk with Mike Marcello about this yesterday,
Yep.
and I have some difficulties with it. For one thing, I think 50% is too high, but putting it into a maintenance account, you couldn't use it for like purchasing a rescue.
Right.
But, so I was thinking that if we put 20% into a restricted account to purchase rescues, at the end of 5 years, we'd have enough to pay for them. And I get your argument, well, if we do it for one, we have to do it for all, but I don't agree with that.
Well, my only other problem is we are using casino money for capital. So that.
True, but if we did it this way, we wouldn't have to struggle to find the money, it would be there.
And there's always other things.
Yeah.
There's always other capital needs.
Oh, yeah,
so
I agree. We just have
It's
to-
not
We
like,
just have to justify another account that we're restricting to buy
Right.
capital.
I don't-
We couldn't. I talked to Denise and she had no problem.
I don't think that we've usually restricted more than like 20 or 25% for each of the,
Because we
The
get between
restrictions.
500 and 600 grand out of third-party
So,
billing.
my request for next meeting, and I'll try to get this, is, I'll get this from Denise. What is the revenue from this? let's see what that number really is.
Right.
So that, because we're talking 20% of, we don't know what, I used to know, but,
I think at this point, it's close to 400,000 that they've brought in as of the last information we received from Denise, but they're running a little behind
Right.
the projection.
Usually
But it is a lot of money, and I understand, the percentage that we put in, again, was a placeholder, knowing that it's going to, engender discussion.
And have her do an average over the past couple, 3 years.
I agree with Jay that apparatus maintenance, I have a problem with that, but as a one-time expense, I don't like buying a rescue or
Yeah.
a fire truck or,
Well, and then the other thing, the bottom part of this, I do not want to have, I would say this for this department head or any other, they shouldn't be deciding and pick and choosing. That's horrible.
Or it could say recommendation.
Well, that would be good, recommendation, but not.
recommendation to
not
the
at
town
discretion
administrator
of-
or whatever. Town administrator should be in here
Yes.
also. Mike, do you have?
I have concerns about restricting this if we're not doing the same for other
Right.
departments. That's
Yeah.
my concern.
Yeah.
Because I think other departments have rational reasoning for asking for it as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll move this to another meeting. We'll talk about this.
Yeah, play with it.
I'll find out what is actual in that account now. I think it decreased because of COVID, didn't it? Something went on. I remember them telling me that,
Yeah.
I don't know,
that they
but
haven't been able to collect as much. But,
Well, but that's,
they would have had more rescues during COVID.
I know,
though.
but whether they're collecting the money.
Well,
All right,
they're
well,
really only collecting, well, they're collecting internally, Tiverton residents' insurance, right?
up
And that's-
up to whatever their insurance will
Insurance
pay, and
cover,
then the
right.
remainder we don't charge.
Right.
Which is,
So they would have had more runs during COVID.
all right, so we'll look into that.
Great. And then,
I'm just gonna write myself a note.
Can I ask about the second one? Because that just seems, I guess it's been in there, but the wording of it. So all municipal accounts be restricted for their intended purpose, and no transfers are authorized out of those accounts except to other municipal accounts in a declared state of emergency. We transfer money all the time.
Yeah, that's not,
within departments, not.
Right,
among.
but this specifically says we can only do it if there's a declared state of emergency.
did you take this right from, yeah, that's what I thought.
it's
Yeah,
historical, I don't know
Yeah.
when it's,
This has
when
been the
it-
same for years.
Yeah, well, that's why,
Doesn't make it right.
Restricted for their intended purposes.
can we just have Mike look at that?
this is the opportunity, I think.
This was, yeah. My recollection is
Well,
there's
let me
been a
ask-
lot of discussion around this.
So when I talked to Denise yesterday, she had a concern about 3 and 4, that they did not. 4 has that if the town council or referendum, 3 has that if the town council shall. So should they not sort of read the same? What's the difference?
That was, well, number 4 was to, after reading through the changes in the way that it's structured right now for the unified budget and the possibility of a referendum, that's one change that I made. As I tried to incorporate the unified budget in there. And again, it's wordsmithing, and if you felt that there was a better way to phrase that and frame it, we brought it forward with the understanding that there's going to be review and discussion and modification.
But if we take those out because we're doing ordinances,
You have a quorum, Jerry.
Well, I didn't really think about it until she mentioned it, and I said,
Could we forward this to Mike?
I want to look at, I think, I'm going to pull up the charter, because I don't think, even if it's a referendum, they're voting on specific items. I think we have to go back in. If the referendum changes the bottom line, we have to go back in and make adjustments.
yes.
Right,
So I don't know that, because this is specific to those accounts, I don't know if you have to have or referendum in there.
Could we forward this to Mike
Yeah,
Marcello on
yeah.
Monday? Okay. And forward it to Denise also, and ask her for her comments too.
Can we do number 2 as well?
Yeah, well, we'll send the whole thing.
Yeah.
Send the whole thing, and ask Denise and Mike
Well,
for
she
their.
has them.
Yeah, but I
Talk
want
about
it
these.
formally written by Denise, what she feels, or she's sick, that's why she's not here today.
Yeah, she's all.
Yeah, and you kept talking to her yesterday, poor thing.
I didn't realize she was sick when I called her.
So
She
could we
didn't sound
forward it
good.
and ask them for that? Okay. Yeah, she's sick. No, just have them look at every single one and give us their opinion. And we can discuss this either on Monday or next Thursday. All right, Mike.
Okay, moving on to the budget.
Oh, wait a minute, Jerry has to
Yeah.
open the meeting, sorry.
Just gonna call the school committee to order.
Okay. All right. All right, go ahead.
And as I indicated, you had done us a great service in your meetings where you took and made some adjustments to a lot of a number of accounts. So there wasn't a whole lot, there was work to be done from our perspective, and we took a look at this. But the first item that we made a change to was in the pension plans, line 5263, account number 5263.
What page, Mike, do you have? Right
Yeah,
now?
you would ask
Oh,
that.
it's right here, 5.
5, sorry. I'm reading on the,
Yeah, it's all right, I can find it.
so that was based on a suggestion that $100,000 to level fund that account would be acceptable, and so that is what we did. There was some discussion about the ability of our investments carry through, and instead of the $100,000 increase, we kept it level funded.
Yeah, we talked about decreasing that also, but we didn't make a decision on that.
The next item is actually the one we had just discussed, the equipment apparatus, or apparatus maintenance, which is page 6 at the bottom. We took 50,000 out of that, anticipating some amount coming from the resolution. That number, obviously, based on any modifications to the resolution, should probably still be safe. I would think that whatever amount, should you deem it appropriate to continue with that resolution, $50,000 would be covered fairly easily.
And you did approve the deputy chief.
Yes.
I'm trying to find apparatus maintenance on here. Oh,
It's
I'm
actually
looking at the wrong
on,
one.
it's on
Yeah.
page 7 for us.
It's on the bottom, page 6, on mine anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
All right, so the budget committee added 50, how much?
No, they're suggesting,
No, we reduced
They
it by 50.
reduced it. I'm trying to
We
look
reduced
at
it to 25,000 from
It's,
75,000.
for us, it's on, the budget committees is on the bottom of page 6.
Right.
And then our updated is on page 7.
That's what I'm trying to find. Next
Yeah,
step.
it doesn't really line up exactly.
Okay.
So we have
75.
75,000 on the updated. Budget committee is 25,000. They removed 50,000, feeling that would come from the collected
okay.
health insurance.
Give me 1 minute, I want to see something. I'm just trying to see what we have in that account right now. We've already spent 45 out of that account so far.
But keep in mind, they're thinking 50,000 is going to come from the collections. So they're not decreasing the amount
I
that
get
they
it.
feel it will be needed.
Okay. Too many budgets in front of me. Okay.
So, yeah, that would, should that resolution not move forward,
Yeah, then we'll have to
this,
adjust
you'd have to
that.
look at this and adjust.
Okay.
The next item that we made any significant change to is the state education mandate, which is line 6928 under 3330. And that is under the police department. And we looked at the FY '23 funded $45,000. So far, they've used $23,000. And with the length of time to, between now and the end of the fiscal year, and nothing had been brought forward as any particular reason why there would be a large expense in the remaining time, we did take $10,000 from that account. After that, we moved to 5540, which is the snow removal contracting. It's page 10 in my package.
Yep.
And you had made a reduction, we agreed with that of $35,000. And let that move forward. In the sand, salt, and gravel, that was a reduction you had made, we agreed. Those were all line items we had targeted, feeling that they were perhaps overestimated for next year.
Okay.
And we actually had an addition in the paving drainage and account. And honestly, my notes don't reflect whether that was done by us or by you, the council. But that was, goodness. We restored $80,000 there.
Paving drainage account.
Yeah, we have zero on that line for the council.
We have zero because there's a lot left in that account. And Rick was supposed to get back to us. I just thought of it.
Plus leftover money gets put in that account.
Yeah, because he does have a paving plan. All right.
So beyond that, in still the DPW, the highway signs, we took $4,000 from that account. It had, $9,600 had been requested. They had spent, 23's budget was $37.55 requested. They had not spent anywhere near the amount that they've now requested for this addition, so we took $4,000 from that. And I think this reduction in 5,500 rubbish and recycling collection was by the council of 300,000. Am I correct? If not, I'm gonna,
Yeah, let me look. If anybody can find it, tell me.
It's the bottom of page 10,
Yeah, where is it, Deb? Okay.
the very bottom line. 6457.
Yeah, so we're putting 1.3 million in there.
Yeah, and actually, Budget Committee has 1.31.
310.
Yeah,
So 10,000 you disagreed with? No.
no, I thought we probably were reflecting what you had
Yeah, yeah.
intended, and if that's a math error, I'll take
It
responsibility.
might be our error too. It's only $10,000.
So overall, that was a reduction on the municipal side of $462,000. We made no changes to the school appropriation. And as chairman, I will speak to this. There was a spirited discussion regarding the schools. Members of the Budget Committee were not entirely comfortable with the numbers that had been put forward by the schools. Questions that were asked, there was not full satisfaction with the responses that we had received. At this point, we felt, enough information to make an educated decision on their request. And this is one of those situations we're basically punting it back to you.
So this is you have a 2.98% increase for the schools?
Yeah.
With those, that reflects their numbers?
That's their increase, yes. So the grand total was 3.4, as I read.
Right, because during the discussion on Saturday, 2 weeks ago, didn't they say they wanted 4%?
Yes.
I thought.
It doesn't come out to 4%.
That was part of our
And I
discussion.
looked at that this week because I was trying to think what was fair to give them. And every time I looked at this, I wasn't coming up with 4%. So it's actually, they're asking for almost a 3% increase.
Based on this.
Based on
And
this
again,
and what they asked for. I mean, that you're not making this up. But I thought in front of us the other night and in front of you, they said it was 4%.
That has been mentioned, and that, again, as I stated with our discussion, it was very confusing.
Well, yeah, well, we've had a lot of problems with confusing numbers, and everyone has looked, like, when I looked at this the other day, because I was trying to figure out percentage, what I thought was fair. I wasn't,
Can I just ask, I'm not sure what document you're looking at. Is that something that we have available to us? So is that the,
well, this is what you requested, well, not you personally, but the schools requested.
which of these four documents, which one are you actually
The
looking
Budget Committee's document.
The Budget Committee
at? So
stuff.
the one that says Budget Committee Recommendation 425, 2023?
Yes,
And you're on page 14?
page 14. You know what okay, wait a minute.
And that document was distributed to us by Chris based on the submission of the information he had.
So, but Mike, okay,
So, actually, I'm still a little bit confused. So I don't see anything, what line?
total school appropriation.
Oh, okay. No.
You see that?
Right, got it.
And so the blue, the highlighted is what you requested.
Right, and that's, so my understanding is that's 4% of last year's local levy or, town appropriation. So it's less projected aid. And the way we come up with the numbers, we look at what was given last year. 4% of that is the increase that you have. to
But
then
given by
back up
who,
the
though?
state aid.
Given by who? Is it given by what we're taxing the taxpayers? You have to get rid of state appropriation. This is what the whole discussion was about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So, this is why I'm concerned about this number, because I'm not sure that there's an understanding of this. So it's 4% of what we taxed, minus state aid. It's what the town gave you. You have to minus state aid. So, on the docket, which I don't have in front of me for last year, you do, is 4% of the number. And this is my whole week since I got back from vacation, is discussing this, and we have several documents. And we actually looked it up. And we had Mike weigh in on this, so, and the treasurer weigh in on this.
But what do you have for the local levy for FY '23?
33,531,278.
Right?
Right.
Okay,
Which
so,
was the approved,
That was the full appropriation. So less, then you take less the state aid, which was 698,127,
so the local appropriation, Yeah, but is that 20, yeah. The local appropriation actually, Jerry, was 26,295,236.
That's not the number I have.
So that's why you're saying 4%. Because it's probably 4%, if Mike's figuring it out now, of 26,295,236.
No, that's,
That's where,
in my head, that doesn't make,
all right, so this has been the problem all that we discovered 2 weeks ago. That we don't give 4% of the total amount.
No, that's correct.
Right.
That's not what we asked for. So,
You weren't here the other day. Okay, okay. So that was the confusion in front of
We did
us.
take a vote, and the vote, I assume, is what's reflected on this.
Right, but it's not.
okay, so
So is it 4% of that?
So 4% of 26,295,236 is $1,051,809.44.
So you'd have to add that to the 26. See what I'm saying?
So I have, as, in,
Wait,
local levy I have is 26,547,151.
Yeah, that was the difference. That is where Denise, we're looking at Denise's numbers.
Which he may not have, I don't know.
The 2023, your 2023 that your financial director gave us and what Denise is giving us is different.
Okay, I guess we would have to go back and look at the
Yeah.
document itself.
Well, we just did, and this, Denise's number is correct. Let me tell you, Denise spent,
But I don't understand, so there's a docket number, which is what the taxpayers voted on, and then there's an actual number, which is less. So what is the actual, that's what they're spending?
they,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what they spent.
Do I have what you're looking at?
So they spent less than the voters voted for.
Is this yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't, I mean,
Gene, can you make
doesn't
some
make it
copies
different
of
what we
that?
spend, once it's appropriated,
Make-
it's appropriated.
Right, so we
make
gotta
it
just
10.
look at the appropriation.
She's gonna make copies.
And let me tell you, we looked at this statute. Mike Burke looked at it, Mike Marcello, Denise looked at it. Your request has to be 4%
Of the local levy.
Or less.
Yeah, right, up, no
of the
more than 4%.
Right. Not the total, counting state aid.
No, yeah.
But that was what the numbers were confusing last time, because whether I understood it wrong or right, I was getting the impression that they thought 4% from the whole thing.
No, I think what happened was,
Voted it as far as I
I think what happened was, when Amy did the numbers, she based it off of the audit, not off of the docket.
Right.
But it really, I mean, that's great, and certainly if there was confusion, I'm hoping we can get.
Right, that's, right.
Yeah,
so-
Diane, we're trying to figure this out. We're just trying to
Diane,
figure this out.
Yeah, we're not arguing, we're just saying that's why this is all coming about today, is because 2 weeks ago,
Thank you.
quite frankly, we all were confused.
No, I understand.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I do, I understand, I'm hoping perhaps we can.
Well, that's what we're trying to figure it out.
I get it.
All right, so on this document here, it's got one
So where is
set of
that
numbers,
number?
that's the docket.
It's
That
1
was
million
what
more?
were the voters, I'm assuming, right? That's
Correct.
why it's called a docket.
I would say.
So the approved appropriation was what we talked about, 26,547,151. But then what's actual? What's that supposed to represent?
That is just what you actually spent.
And that should have nothing to do with.
Has nothing to do with anything.
It just
We
shows-
we should be going by the docket, what the taxpayers voted for.
Right. That was just actual because the rest of that money goes into another account for you guys.
No, that's,
And we're not done with this year yet,
well,
so.
that's the other thing, is that you're,
Right.
you know, what we spend, you know, that's actually kind of close to the total appropriation, and it's May, and we get stuff that comes in.
Yeah, the actuals just give the budget committee and us an idea of, you know, like Mike, you know, the budget committee in other areas took
Okay.
things out based on the actuals were so low.
So we all agree that the local appropriation for FY '23 was 26,547.
No.
No,
No, look
26.
at what, so this document you just got from Denise. If you look at the,
And that came right from,
oh, no, this is the actuals. This is, no,
I
you're right,
think
you're right,
it's a
you're,
docket,
sorry,
yes.
Yeah, so we
Sorry.
all agree that.
I looked at the wrong line.
What was before the voters was 26,547,151, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I looked at the wrong line.
So then our request was 4% of that, which was 1.06886.
I've totally lost you.
Look at the
That's
top.
the
I looked at the
increase
wrong
you're
one.
looking at.
Yeah, that's the 4%.
I looked at the wrong one.
So 4% of 26,547,151 is 1,061,886. Someone can check my number.
So what is the total that your request is,
And
Jerry?
the total request was 27,609,037, I think.
Because we've got
I'm sorry.
34 something.
No. So we have to request the total budget. You can't bifurcate them.
Right.
So, but in that 34
Oh,
number.
Denise, the treasurer's calling me. So this might be important.
She's watching.
Live. Hi, you watching this?
So you have to put in what the taxpayers are paying plus the state aid.
Because the state aid, so the state aid, if the projection is down, that means that any request we have has to make up for that. Or put it in another way, if the
Okay,
state
so-
aid is flat, then it has no real impact on what our request is. If it goes up, then we actually have to request a higher
I'm gonna
number.
put you on speaker because we're in the middle of this.
I don't
Yeah,
know
if
if
the
you
projection
do
No, I don't
that.
think I can do that.
We actually
All right.
have to account for that.
All right, can we hold off for a minute because Denise is trying to tell us something. Okay, so say it again.
I think she's probably saying I used the wrong
Hello,
line.
Denise. Hello? There's a time lag, so she's, there's a time lag, what she's watching. what we're talking about.
Okay. So she didn't see me correct.
No, Denise, I lost her.
Yeah, but when she looked at it, she was probably thinking we were referring to the
She said,
second set
what
of
she kept
numbers.
saying to me was, look at the docket.
Right,
the
right.
actual
So I looked at the wrong set
Hello?
of numbers first. That's what it
Hello?
was.
Okay, I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Yep. That's different from the docket. That's a mistake. Okay, and what is that number? Do you have it in front of you? Yeah, we have that number if you look at this, the docket. You,
Yeah.
you,
I read the wrong number off.
okay.
I made a mistake.
No, she's not watching that though.
Oh,
So it's, right, but we have that. Under docket, at the top box, the docket 2023 is 26,547,151. That's the right number. So they can request up to 4% of that. Okay. Okay. Are you watching it now? Okay. All right, thank you. Bye. All right, we'll keep it here in case she needs to call us again.
So the 26,547,151 is the appropriated number from FY '23, right?
So that's what they can request?
that's,
So 4% of that.
yeah, so is 1061, which, and change, which you
Yeah,
said.
161,886.
And then adding that to the 26.5 comes out to 26,609,037.04.
27,609.
27,609,037.04.
And then and then the actual request has to be with projected state aid. Now, that could go up and down. It went down, right? So that the actual, if you look at the overall request, or the overall budget for the schools, it's not 4%, it's not a 4% increase. You only-
No, it's 4% of the docket number.
Right.
The only increase is 4% of the 26,547,151, which is 106, whatever it was. And then,
I get
and then
it.
the projected state aid as of, last time I looked at it was can't change it because
Right.
we voted when we voted it.
Can you just say that number again?
So the projected state aid when we voted, and it is a moving target, but it went down by about $300,000, was 6920770.
So is that straight from the governor's budget request, do you know?
It was actually a ride number that was published, but I don't remember what the governor's,
Well,
that's also,
they-
that's also kind of irrelevant, because the state aid becomes what the state aid is after they enact it in June.
Well, it's relevant to our budget process, though.
Oh, yeah. No, but I'm saying we're so that is the projected number, yeah, so I guess, that was the number we voted on.
So
and that was
actually-
the projected number.
So-
It did reflect the governor's budget, I can't exactly remember where that number.
So to be clear, you are requesting 4% from the taxpayers.
So when you add the 27,609,037, which is a 4% increase,
Right.
and you add the 6920770, which is the state aid, it comes up to 34,529,807, which is exactly what's on the docket here.
Correct, that is the number, and that represents a decrease from our overall budget for FY '23 of 313,253, for anybody who's interested.
Which is a what about the state
Because
aid?
That's the state aid,
That's
yeah,
a
it's
reduction
along
in state aid,
Yeah.
So,
who has no maintenance of effort requirement.
Correct.
we're not gonna vote on this today. But I do have to, I understand that you're asking for 4%, but I'm not quite sure that 4% every single year is becoming and it's only been for the last couple of years. But what is your justification for that 4%? Like, we've gone
Yeah.
through every single line. So people can see what our justification is, but I don't feel that I'm getting a clear reason why you need a 4% again this year.
There's three clear reasons. One was that for FY '21, COVID budget year, flat funding. I don't believe there was any increase in state aid that year, but I.
We have that somewhere.
We had contractual increases still, 3.5% for our entire payroll. That continues to echo through every single budget cycle. Okay? So flat funding, but contractual increases, that builds a structural deficit. If you look at our total payroll, it sort of then remains flat because what we were cutting were teacher positions, and we cut services to the bare bones. So to make up that 2%, we're already, that's about $7 million. Or no, sorry, $700,000, not $7 million. About $700,000. So that's one justification, is that we are still trying to make up the contractual increases that we saw in FY '21 while still maintaining our other contractual increases, right? That's one. Second was we had the fluctuations in special ed every year. We had a period in the mid-teens, if you will, where we actually had really tight control of special education costs. Things were not going up. We sometimes ran some surpluses. Those, and we first realized this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Diane or Elaine, it was around 2019 that those were rising. So that was actually the other reason why, and that they continued to rise through that COVID year. And then the third driver of most of our increases in expenses is increases in transportation and energy. In transportation, we are, I have to be careful in my wording, but every time we go out for bid, we get one bid from one supplier. And that's true of every district in the state, as far as I can tell. And that's, so we're left accepting those numbers. And so we've had pretty substantial transportation increases over the last 2 to 3 fiscal years. So those are the three reasons. It's not because we're expanding services. It's not because we're, our voted salary increases for our two unions, 10% over the last contract years, the 3-year contract, and then we just voted 8% over 3 years. So, we don't think that people getting a 10% increase. So those are the reasons why I would project, and
Yeah,
I less and less have a dog in the game, but I would, we have to get increases like that probably for 3 to 4 years going forward in order to catch up with that 2%, the rising transportation and special ed and energy increases, and then the contractual agreements we've made, for every fiscal year. That's the justification.
all right, so the town is also seeing a lot of our own increases, but what I'm trying to say is what we try to do, and we've been trying to do it for a long time now, is we know the costs are going up, so we find different areas in the budget to cut. We have not gotten 4% on the town side for very long. I don't even remember ever getting 4% on the town side. And a couple of budgets ago, we actually, the Sanford Mandel budget, what we all worked on, we really worked very hard to decrease our expenses to give you guys more, because we realized your bad years. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we could definitely ask for 4%, but that's why we spend 4 or 5 weeks going through these budgets, trying to find places where we can save so that we can justify the number we give. Now, I will, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it. I do understand your first thing with contracts, and I do know you're giving teachers and ASME, I do know the raises, but I really have a problem with what your department heads are making, and some of the raises that were given there. And if you look at the town side, your vice principals, principals, superintendents, all the way up, are making so much more than my administrator, my police chief, my fire chief. And I understand that you have our problem too, that we are low pay in the state. We do not pay what other places are paying. But if you look at what the school, they're low, but if you look at the town, we are very low. And that's why sometimes we have problems getting people here. I just think that some of the contracts with those people have been a little bit too high, in my opinion. And it could be where savings could have come from. We are trying to raise our police chief and our administrator right now, but very minute to even get close to what the state average is. And that's where I have the problem. And that is totally just my opinion. I don't know if I can vote for a 4% this year. And I've been very supportive all the way through. I've been part of some budget processes. But the town has expenses, and we try so hard to try to decrease those expenses, but it's getting to the point that we have to raise the budget a little bit more than 1 to 2%. And this is just my opinion, and it's not going to be final for a couple of weeks. But, and I'm still looking. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to find savings on the town side, which we all are. And so did the town administrator. Yeah, Mike.
Can I respond to that? Or
Yeah.
you guys
Oh,
want to
you
go
certainly
first?
can.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, right, so if you want to drill down into the the administrative salaries, so one thing to remember is that that's not actually significant, and it's not a huge driver of our budget overall. It's somewhere, around 2 to 3% of the entire budget. If you look at the salaries of comparable positions, because you can't, no matter how much you like the department head of, Public Works, you can't compare that to, you can't use that as the comparator. The comparator is another, principal or another superintendent or another vice principal in a comparable district. And in that regard, we're sort of, in the middle.
Right, but if you look,
So,
but say in the same way, if you look at my DPW director, and you look at compatible throughout the state, we are way below the average. Our town administrator is outrageously low paid. So, that's what we do. And I understand what you're saying, but I'm getting to the point lately that it's not fair that we can't raise them a little bit more. Because we are, and I have looked at it. I have looked with principals and vice principals, superintendents, and I look at town administrators, police chiefs, fire chiefs. And the town is comparably lower than what you are to average. So,
so if I can just sort of finish,
Yeah.
I think that's a bit of a false narrative, that then, one answer to that would be then to try and figure out a way to pay them more. To the other issue.
But Jerry, we can't if we
We
have
can't.
to spend it on the other side of
right,
the
that's what
ledger.
I'm trying to say. We can't.
So we recognize the challenge on your side. We ask that you recognize that we have a similar challenge on our side to get at least to averages, regardless of what discipline it is. And yes, educators tend to get a higher salary range than some of our folks. But we're still not closer to our average, as close to the average as you might be on your side of the ledger.
Yeah, and I understand sort of talking about size, but we're all in the same town, and we're all paying the same taxes. So I'm not disputing that there are fiscal difficulties, I'm just trying to.
But there are two sides to the ledger.
Correct.
In reality, there are two sides to the ledger.
But we can't increase ours if we're gonna give you 4% every year. That's what we're trying to say. We just brought our town administrator to a little over 100,000. Just brought our police chief a little over to 100,000, which is so
A
competitive.
little over 100,000.
100,000. Which if you look at the communities around us, it's low. Our town administrator we had him at 90,000, for a long time. And I can't justify to our end now, we're trying the best we can to bring you up a little bit to average, and then give the school department the 4% again. It's just hard to do that, because I think we need to, right, we're all one town. We're all one town. So we have to kind of share the wealth, I guess, is the way I want to put it. And it's not a lot of wealth. We just have this pocket of money. And so I'm just struggling with this year, because we really need to look at the municipal side a little bit now, and look at the salaries we're paying them. And when I look at your salaries, I think that we need to bring our salaries up a little bit. It's just my opinion. It's not the opinion of everybody here.
And so I wasn't really completely done, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the other thing is, we have looked at every account. We've cut everything we possibly can, because you always want to save personnel, because that's the most important thing in a school system. And we have gone through a pretty extensive process. If you kind of look through our meetings, really beginning, I would say in August, we've been talking about, how to sort of solve this structural deficit problem. And that's why I'm talking about, if you look at it, we sort of outline the causes. Next step, what's the solution? I guess we could try and sell a building or something. You have to, if we were going to try and project, how would we get to closing that structural deficit without cutting more personnel? Because that's what it really comes down to. And then again, the last point I'll make is that if you're talking about the administrative salaries, again, a relatively small part of our overall budget. In fact, we're pretty lean overall. If you look at what component of the 4% is supporting those salaries, it's vanishingly small. And so, lastly, if you look at any of the increases we've given for our administrators, they've all been in line with the same percentages that we've given for our contracts. I think with the contracts with the police, with the fire, they're 2-3%. There's one exception, and that was a very deliberate strategic move because we needed to retain a particular administrator. And I can't really, we have to be careful about going into all of those details. But I know there's a lot of kvetching from a lot of people saying, oh, that was, too much money. If you're looking at, sort of what does 4% represent, it's not representing the administrator's salaries. If I did the math really quick, so it's 3% of 4%. So what's 3% of that $1 million? It's like $40,000, I think, right? So that's the delta in terms of whether or not the administrator's salaries are a significant driver of our budget. They really are not.
Well, all I can say is I feel my responsibility is to look at what the taxpayers can afford and look at the services that they deserve. And that's all I'm going to say.
So,
Deb,
wait,
wait a
no,
minute,
I was waiting.
Mike was waiting.
go ahead.
So, a couple quick things. One is, and I appreciate everything you just described, Jerry. I would ask that, two things. One, and I think I'm correct on the second one I'm going to ask, that you do everything you can going forward to, in new contracts, to control those salary increases. You, not just you, but you as a school committee. Second, I think it's been interpreted that for administrators, you do not have to put a a fiscal statement out publicly, fiscal impact
Fiscal
statement.
impact.
I disagree with that. And I think generally most of us would disagree with that, but we haven't voted on it. So I would ask that you look at any increases in salaries. You do a fiscal impact statement from top to bottom. And then the third, just to the governor's budget. So there is a slight, and it's ever so slight, but there is a slight difference between the calculation that I did here. So your budget request shows I have as $6,920,770 for the state side.
Yep.
The governor's budget request is actually $6,923,516. So it's a small difference, but every small difference counts. So I think we should probably use that as the calculation for state aid.
We can do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had to vote when we had to vote.
Yeah, we can do
And,
that.
what you guys
Right,
do that.
right.
Can you read that number again, Mike?
This new process is a little confusing, but we're starting to get it.
So the governor's proposed budget for Tiverton is $6,923,516, whereas what's used in the current budget draft is $6,920,770. And the good thing about our process, different from the old process, is we will now be closer, especially this year, we will be closer to the actual state budget completion. So we may, at the end of the day, be able to adjust that number accordingly.
That's why we've pushed this back, because of those numbers.
No, that's reasonable, although, again, still never finalized. Can I just respond?
No, but what I'm saying, we can adjust. So we will put out a preliminary budget. We'll have a hearing. We can adjust up until June 30th,
Yeah.
the final budget. We don't have to adopt the final budget until June 30th.
I don't know if you have this, Jerry. It really explains the whole process.
Probably not, if it explains the whole process, I never.
Well, it just gives us, it gives you the dates.
Okay.
Nobody can
Yeah, I think
explain this
it's-
right this second, but
Can I just respond to the issue about the financial impact statement? 'Cause
Yeah.
I finally
You have
got
this,
some
Mike,
clarity
right?
from our attorney.
Yeah.
So
you have this.
I did.
The first thing that, we have never done that for administrators, good, bad, or indifferent. Every school committee has never done that for administrators. The interpretation of our attorney was that the law does not require that. Having said that, his next thing when queried more pointedly was, but it's the town attorneys who has the first crack, I guess, at interpreting the charter, and if that's what the town attorney says, then that's what we have to do. I think he actually asked for a formal opinion by
Okay.
Mike, but be that as it may, I'm, 100% certain that the school committee would go along with that. We just have to bring it to them and say, you guys okay with this? And I'm pretty confident, maybe not 100%, pretty confident that they will say, yeah, sure, why not? Nothing, we do nothing.
Well,
I
it's,
am not committing the school committee, I'm speaking only for myself, but that's my understanding of that issue right now.
Can I make a comment on this?
let me just say one thing. To me, it's transparency, and that's what we all want to do. And to me, every single one of our contracts we do with fiscal impact, no
Yes.
matter what it is. To me, I don't even know why there's a discrepancy here. Why wouldn't you want the public to know this? Why wouldn't you want the public to know the fiscal impact on their budget? It's their budget too. It's what they pay for. So to say that not everyone would be in agreement with that, really, I'm concerned. No, I know.
I'm not saying that they are.
He's
No.
saying he doesn't know.
Yeah, but I'm just concerned if a school committee member would feel that they wouldn't want to release that, because it's us that pays for that. It's the whole town that pays for that. So we should know what we're paying for.
But
So,
every contract is public and every vote.
yeah, but the
is taken
fiscal
on.
impact isn't. And the fiscal impact shows people what this is actually costing.
Okay.
So, yeah, a contract is there, but it does, like, unless you really know this well, or you want to spend a lot of time on it, you can figure out the fiscal impact yourself. But I don't think as taxpayers, they should have to. They should know what this is costing them. And,
And I'm telling you, sort of again, school committee never did it before. I don't think that there'd be much objection, but the school committee has to decide that. I
right,
can't decide that.
right, and I agree, and
Our,
I,
what our opinion was from our council, and then. sort of
I don't think we
further
should be
reflection.
fighting about it. I think that the school committee should step up to the plate and say, yeah, we want to tell you what this is costing us. And to say that they don't want to do that, well, shame on anyone who doesn't.
It's not a matter of not wanting to or not wanting to, it's never been done. in the
Right, right, but we're asking you that maybe, and I'm sure the taxpayers out there listening would agree, they would want to know what this is costing them. But that's just my opinion. Jay?
Well, I'm just going to repeat some of what Denise said. I really don't care what state law says you must or may not do. I can tell you that every contract the town does, from the lowest paid to the highest paid, whatever union it is, we always do a financial impact statement. I think you should do the same, for the same reasons, transparency, so that the voters, the people who are paying the bill, will know the nickel and dime, the nuts and bolts of what they're paying for. I don't think I'm not going to say it's secret, but I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be hard to find. It should be very open, very public, and very available. I've always thought that.
You're kind of casting aspersions on us that are not just.
No, we're not. We're just saying that we,
No, I'm not saying you're not doing it on purpose or anything. I just think,
All right.
okay, you haven't done it before, maybe you can start.
I can only speak for myself, I'm certainly,
Yeah.
I'm happy to bring this.
and Jerry, what we do is we put it out 72 hours in advance of the
Yes.
meeting where we're voting for it, so that if people wanted to come and ask us questions on why this is so high or so low, or whatever, they have the right to ask us too, and we can change our minds accordingly.
Yes.
Because we're voting for it that night. I just think it's a really good practice. I don't remember when I was on the school committee whether we did it or not.
I don't think we had,
probably didn't.
I don't think it was in the,
Not,
No, we
statute at the
probably
time.
didn't. But now that I'm on the town side and see how, I think this process is very open and people see what we're spending, I like that idea. Because when we vote for it, everyone had the right to look at it and come to us and say we don't agree with it.
So I sent you a link to the budget schedule.
Deb, you want to say something? Yeah. Deb, go ahead.
I just want to reiterate, we are one town. It's not us and them, it's we. We're tasked with the budget for the entire town. That includes the schools, it includes all the municipal. I think there's always room for improvement, but I think, we just need open, honest dialogues and whatnot. I just want to bring us back to when that contract was settled for the teachers. We were amongst the lowest paid teachers in the state. We were losing teachers. We can support new teachers coming in, but you can't have all of your teachers new. So we need to retain teachers. And we know that we lose them in those first 5 years. So we needed to do something with that contract, and we did. The contract that was settled was probably higher than it's ever been, but it got us to a place, not at the top for sure, but it got us closer to where we needed to be. Now, that contract's been in effect for a couple of years, and it's been a struggle the last couple of years because it's a little bit higher than what we have done in the past. But it put us where we needed to be, and it's what we needed to do at the time. I do firmly believe that. And we have another contract coming up soon, I guess. Keep in mind that I think it's 75% of the budget for the schools is salary, approximately.
Something like that.
So I don't know how much that's contractual. So 75% of your budget is contractual. The rest of it, I'm not sure how much wiggle room, I can't answer that for you. But I know that cutting staff, cutting not just teachers, but cutting other staff negatively impacts education. You need all of those pieces to make things work. Knowing that our municipal side, there's also issues, there is only so much money in the pot, so we really need to look at it and look at it as a whole, as a town, for all of us. My first comment. My second one, and we can't settle this here, but we really need to look at the state level about the busing, because we really are held, and that's not something we can negotiate. Our hands are tied, and that's just not right. And that needs to be looked at the state level, because we're not the only town in that hole, so.
Only state is affected by that.
There is a Facebook page, like Historical Tiverton, and there was an article from, I believe, the 70s, where the school committee was talking about, we have such a great contract for the buses, because we had a local bus company and paid very little. Obviously, the 70s finances are very different than what we have now. Gas prices were lower, everything was lower, salaries, cost of living, but it doesn't have to be what it is right now, and I think the state needs to take a look at that, but that's all I say.
Legislators have to get involved.
They, absolutely.
Brought that to their attention recently. If they don't get involved, we continue to pay the price. And it's not just Tiverton.
It's the entire state,
Unfortunately,
correct.
that's what happens.
Well,
Correct.
Jerry, you said you were going to be careful with your language, but I won't be.
It's-
We're dealing with two functional monopolies.
Yes.
They don't bid against each other.
Right.
Personally, I think they have closet meetings to decide how to divide up the state. That's just me.
Conspiracy.
It's going to go up again after what happened in Providence with First Student. And if we retain First Student, we're going to get it. So, and there's not a thing you can do about it. I understand that. We need to get the state involved, but we have that big 2-unit lobby up in the state. I don't think nothing's going to happen with that. So
It's just a shame.
transportation's probably going to go up another 500 grand with next contract.
The only thing I want to say, as far as Deb's comments, I understand retention is difficult for you, for the school department, but it is becoming increasingly difficult for our side too, for the fire, for the police. Me and Jay have been involved in every contract, unfortunately, And that comes up every single contract, that they're having problems retaining because our police and fire salaries are so low. So that's what I'm saying, we have to balance this, and we have to try to balance the entire budget for this, because we.
I agree with you.
Yeah, because, I mean, the fire department has great concerns right now because of retention. And so, and that contract is coming up very soon,
Sure.
next year, so we have to think about that also. Any,
I was done.
no, you're here, we have, we just settled me, but we still have several others. All right, any other questions? Any other comments from the school committee? Like I said, this isn't gonna be settled today. And we're also going to go through our budget piece by piece again to see if anybody else has other savings.
You're gonna take it up again on Monday and Thursday?
Yeah, Monday,
Saturday's your
Drop that.
yeah. So Monday, I did put it on the town council meeting. Chris still won't be here, but we can go through some of the line items and see if we can change it. Thursday will be our big meeting. Thursday will be the meeting where Chris will be here, and hopefully, he'll only have 2 or 3 days to look at this, but he's pretty good with numbers, he'll catch on. And I do know he's been watching from Hawaii, believe it or not. So, yeah, but like Mike indicated, we have until the 13th.
Yeah.
But we actually have until the 30th the June 30th to actually finalize it.
Right, but the first one has to meet all the legal
Right,
requirements.
the first one has to meet all legal requirements. I'm gonna have Jeannie make a copy of this for you if you want.
I sent, this is
you
what
got
I
it.
sent you the,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all.
And like I said, we're trying to get used to this next year. We'll have a better handle on this.
yeah, well, the charter explains it, but this has the actual dates for
This
this
has
year.
the actual,
That's helpful, I think.
okay. And,
And we've still done nothing with the worksheet or any of that kind of stuff
a worksheet.
This worksheet.
to figure out what the tax rate will be. and-
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just
we've
plugging
done.
in numbers.
Yeah, that's just plugging in numbers, and I want Chris and Denise to,
Well, some of them come from Dave.
and Dave. All right, so, thank you, both of you. I know I kept Mike here, but I hope this was
All
helpful.
right.
And thank you to the budget committee for your good work.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and this, and we'll tweak this process as we go along also, but I think it's worked out well. And thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. Do we want to add, just in case, a 13th meeting Saturday morning?
Yeah. Okay, so, no, so, the DPW budget was one that we kind of had to, so the pay-as-you-throw.
All right, Denise, can I close my meeting? Just-
Yeah, go ahead, I
Motion to
forgot.
adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks.
Hey Sally, I'm still purple.
Thank you, everyone, for all your hard work.
Should spray painted it brown.
I've been waiting, but I kept it. Okay, so up until this point, and this is just until April 30th, the pay-as-you-throw right now has a little less than 400,000 in it, 392,079.67. Everybody looking at this?
Let me get it out.
Okay, is this the budget committee? No, okay. So, if you go to the line item to pay-as-you-throw,
392,000.
392,000. So we just, and that,
What's the waste zero fee? Do you know?
the what?
The waste zero fee?
No,
That's a new one on me.
yeah, that's new on me too.
Which one you look at?
We're looking at pay-as-you-throw right now. So it's this one, Mike?
Yeah, I just have to find where I put it.
Unless it has something to do with not meeting recycling goal.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what that
we have to
is.
pay back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is only till April, so we have 392,079 in there. Last year, it's a little lower than last year, actually. Quite. So what did we give to pay as you throw? What did we give to trash?
Well, so, but then we also have 2 more months.
Yeah, we have 2 more months, and the average is, like someone had said, it's around 50,000.
Right, so,
So probably add another 100,000 to that.
well, maybe
But do we get
we could be
fun?
cautious and do like 75.
Yeah.
And what's the waste zero? Is that quarterly or, looks like it's.
That would have to be a question we ask Denise.
Yeah,
But I mean, it
It
has.
looks like it's a monthly, potential monthly cost.
Yeah.
well,
But we've only had it in 2 months.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, okay. No, those are the end of quarter. No,
No.
the 31st isn't the end of a quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
We'll have to ask Denise that question. So, on page 10, rubbish and recycling.
Where are you at? Page 10?
We decreased it to 1.3. What did we ask for originally? I really had this pretty organized when I came here. Okay, so originally, Chris had put in 1.6. We decreased it to 1.3, thinking that we could pull 300,000. Am I right? Yes,
Add a page in front.
right. Because we put, correct me if I'm wrong, we put the APRA money into some of the closing. Remember Rick
Yes.
said?
Yes.
And so right now, there's very little there that we need to worry about right now. Recycling, we also took some of the APRA money to help with that center.
This guy.
So if we take, so what we're really saying is we're taking 300,000 from the pay-as-you-throw this year.
And that'll leave the 75 for the monitoring and.
Yeah, well, if we take 300 out, and if you figure the next 2 months, we're going to have about 192 in there for everything else we need. And keep in mind, we still have APRA money we could appropriate.
Do we?
Yes, we do. I
Okay.
asked Chris that question. And we also have casino money we could appropriate to any of this also. Because we've only spent, I think, only what I can't remember, it's like 900,000 from there, so.
Yeah, we still have about 2 million, roughly,
Yeah, we
2,
still
for
have-
this year,
Yeah, we still have roughly 2 million of the casino money left over.
Something like that.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking, so I think I'm comfortable with the 1.3, is everybody else?
Yeah.
Okay. Which has been helpful because we did decrease our budget by 300,000. Okay, so, snow removal. We did decrease that to 100,000. We took 35 out of there.
Yep.
And we're going to, well, Rick is going to talk about snow removal. The only thing I do want to see, we have a lot left over in snow removal, but that's just going to go right to the general budget, the general
General fund?
Yeah.
A lot left over for what?
snow removal.
Snow removal.
But that's just as we speak right now.
Right, but if we even talk about restricting, it wouldn't be for this year, so that will go into the general fund.
Right. But we may wanna, well, Rick's gonna come and talk to us about snow removal, and he has some points, but if you really look at snow removal, we really do have,
Yeah, but that's why we want to create a restricted account, so it carries over, so we don't have to have that discussion.
right,
Well, we didn't talk about snow removal, we talked
No,
about
we talked
sand and
about the sand
gravel.
and
Right.
gravel, but he wants to add,
We discussed snow removal and didn't do anything with it.
I don't know if we told
I don't,
this.
I don't remember discussing that as a restricted receipts.
think
We may
we-
have, but,
I know that I've discussed it with Rick on the phone, but I don't know if we discussed it.
I think it'll be a good thing to talk with him about, because it's, you know, you're trying to predict what the weather's gonna be like
Yeah.
over the next year, so,
That's why if we,
If we could get rid of the highs and lows,
right,
just level it.
right.
because we,
It would be a lot.
we have a
easier
lot
to
in that
figure.
account, which I'm thankful for, because it didn't snow, and I dislike snow so
yeah.
badly.
Well, then-
If we considered
If you have a
that,
couple of good years.
Wait a minute, Mike.
no, go ahead.
No, go, Mike.
No, if we considered that, we just want to see if other cities and towns do the same.
That's a good point.
I would want to see if other cities and towns restrict
Oh,
that
okay.
type of account.
What'd you find?
I said, I didn't. I would want Rick to be able to tell us
Yeah.
if other cities and towns do that.
And I'll talk to Rick and tell him that over the next couple of days. All right, what else do we have in here? Electricity, right, guys?
That's the street lighting thing is here.
Is that the street lighting? Can anyone make any sense of this for me?
I've always had a problem.
I've always had a problem with this. Did I take, did you, is this yours?
I don't know if it is or not. I'm all a mess here.
Yeah, I have two, so that must be
Okay.
yours. I always have a problem with this. And
Although, it is going, I think 2020, Denise would have to tell me if I was wrong, was the year when they did bill us for almost a damn year.
I think you're right.
And then after that, so part of this is also paying off the loan, if you will, servicing fee or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I've had a hard time understanding this. I don't know if,
But it is going down.
but what is that 136, 137 number way over to the right?
What page is it in the budget? No, I want to look at what's in the budget.
I'll have to look.
Yeah, that's when we started.
I think we need Denise to
I think we need.
talk to us about
Denise
this.
can explain this, because,
You don't know how many times that
No, I
this has
know.
been explained to
Oh,
me.
I
I know,
found
me
it.
too.
Found it. And even I've had Chris try to explain it to me. And I don't know if I'm being dense about it, but
So I think we only have to look at, I don't think you have to worry about that for the budget purposes.
okay.
Because, you know, I'm looking at the budget committee's docket, but I think ours is the same. $80,000 is what is in there for the coming year. And if you look at the top line of the other document, we've spent $56,231 so far through March. And that is lower because of an $11,196 net metering credit. It would have cost us $67,427.
I'm looking at you, your number, yeah.
So the request is for 80. We're probably on track for at least the 75 for this year. My sense is this number is considered to be without credits because we don't know what the credits are going to be. So we budget for the higher amount, and then we have a potential to save on the credit side.
Okay. So that
But
number's,
I would say, if we're looking at 75 this year, why don't we keep it at 75? I mean, so through, let me just do the math quick. For 9 months, and you guys may have done this, I don't know.
I was
Yeah,
going to make a comment on the paving. We did
Oh.
talk
Oh.
about
Is that what you're talking about?
No,
we're talking
the-
electricity right
The,
now.
the street lighting,
Okay.
we can get back to that in a second.
Yeah, I'll let you say something.
So, 56, oh,
So we have to add an average to the total to get to June, right?
yeah, hang on.
And I'm not quite sure if net metering credits are a one-time deal or monthly.
Well,
Also not quite sure how they,
so it's about $7,500 a month. So it's 74, it's 7,492. So 7,492, that's before taking credits. So for 3 more months, that would be an additional 22,000. So we might have to keep it at 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's going to bring us to 89. So actually, keeping it at 80 is probably a good thing to do.
Can I just say, Mike, that Denise is saying 75,000 plus the expected utility increase of 6%, which is probably why they went to the 80,000.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
But your math does support that. Mike's math, Mike Burke's math does support that.
So I think we're going to, you want to take what?
Yeah, I forget. You can talk about paving.
Okay. On the street lighting expenses too, our conversation was just about, I don't think we had enough information to make that a solid number. One of the things we threw out was just safety concerns and really, is that something that were there maybe even more lights put up in different areas, growth, whatever. Again, we didn't have enough information to even compute what we thought would be the appropriate amount, to take into account both the increase and then is there an increase in use? Is there something going on that we don't know about?
Right.
So that's kind of where we left on that. On the, well, we felt that 80,000 was a good number for the paving and drainage. We do know that there was money left over, of course, in snow removal, of which some of that was being used for some additional rubbish pickup for the
Yeah.
spring project. And maybe it's Johnston, I don't know how that ended up. But it seems that it's been, even though we didn't get the snow, we're commenting on how bad the roads are right now throughout the town. And when we say to the benefit of the taxpayer, when there really is, from washout, from rain, it's been such a wet winter. There's just a lot of repair that needs to be done. So we might not have had the snowy year, but we did kind of think that they're sort of all offsetting each other.
Yeah, the other thing, and I'm not sure if you had that information, we put, about $1 million from ARPA or casino, I forget which source. We put about $1 million into paving for the coming year, or last year and this coming year, yeah.
This coming year.
And Denise knows this better because she's had more conversations with Rick. You know, Rick has described, there's only so much you can do within the paving season, so to speak.
Yes.
So
That's
you
the
could put
problem.
$10 million in there and still not be able to get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much they can work on.
Yeah.
So,
This is
That's been the
minuscule
problem.
compared to that, but I think we were just, there was nothing in the line
Mm-hmm.
the year before, and there was a little discussion about it, but perhaps it is taken care of. some
Yeah, that's
way.
why there was nothing in there, because we used that one-time money to help.
One-time money though, so is some of that money still left, or we will have it for,
oh, it's definitely still left in the paving account.
Yeah.
once it's obligated, we have it.
okay.
So-
Yeah, because that's a
But then
carryover.
the other problem we also have is a lot of those roads are state roads.
That's what a lot of people don't realize,
Yeah.
because
Like
sometimes
Avenue.
Sometimes I'll listen to
Where I
Facebook.
I
live.
won't drive Highland Avenue.
Graders on it.
Sometimes I'll listen to Facebook and people complaining about different roads, and for almost 80% of the time, it's a state road
Yeah.
that they're really having a problem with.
Well, one of the streets is just as Hancock Street, where it's half Fall River and half Tiverton. And those kind of streets seem to have issues.
Yeah, 'cause it's half
Drive on the
Tiverton.
wrong side of the road to avoid, but
Right.
That and
I don't know.
Tiverton and Fall River don't play with each other.
Well, we try. We try, but.
Might have been easier when it was still dirt.
Yes,
Back
I
when,
think so.
back when I was a kid, yeah.
I'm looking to
That was all
see,
things.
Thank you.
I don't know why this doesn't make sense to me. I'm looking to see what's left in the paving account. Like,
That's
Well-
not gonna show you, is it? That's not gonna show you, is it?
this is the treasurer's,
Oh,
yeah, this is gonna show me. That's why I brought it, but this isn't making any sense to me right now.
I left that at home.
Well, I tried to bring it, you should see what my dining room table looks like, trying to sort through all this.
That's the end of March, right? Or is it April?
Budget transfer.
March.
do we have a new one in our packets?
No, I think this is, yeah, it's 200,000, but I'm confused about that.
Well, I like the idea of the restricted funds, but I also think we have to look at it globally, whether it's just 1 year, and all kinds of things happen between winter and
Yeah.
spring and whatever. Make sure everything's covered.
All right. Where do you guys want to go from here? I think I would feel more comfortable if we had more members to make final decisions. Do you all agree?
Yeah.
Is there any other questions that we have? I did put this on the agenda for Monday, and Monday's agenda is not too big. I hate to say that, because sometimes I say it's little and we're here till midnight, but it's not too big, so I think we'll have time to discuss this on Monday. And hopefully hopefully John will be feeling better, Dennis will be with us, and Joe will be with us. Because I'd feel more comfortable making final decisions with at least more than 4.
So we need to talk today to have a discussion with Rick about paving and drainage and snow removal.
Rick will be here on Monday. Yeah,
Anything else, Mike, for Rick?
no. There's, every agenda now is very global. It's including everything. It's not different about, it's discussing the entire budget and making changes. And we also have to,
Do we have our other resolutions? Is that what Michael's working on?
yes, that's what
Okay.
Michael's working on, and that'll be there on Monday. And then if you all want to look at these, we're going to send the resolutions to Denise and Mike. And hopefully maybe we can get some, we send it on Monday, well, we probably won't get it for Monday, we'll probably get it for Thursday, to be fair. I did talk to Mike about a couple of them. All right, do you want to end it? Does anybody have any other questions? All right, thank you for coming.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and second, all those in favor? Thanks.
No, I want to stay.